What's up, everybody? This is Brad, and I want to show you guys this trailer that I got as an ad on YouTube, and I want you guys to help me figure out how this made it into YouTube as an ad that people can get. It's called Sinister Squidward, a SpongeBob horror game. Keep that in mind as I hit the play button.
My name is Squidward, and I hate my life.
I'll be a AI-generated voiceover.
Thinking of killing myself. But before I kill myself, I want to kill the people I hate.
So Squidward is suicidal. Squidward is now homicidal.
I should go find SpongeBob and Patrick and help them.
See you in hell.
This is an ad you can get on YouTube,
Ready to die.
which means somebody at YouTube had to approve of this. So, yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, funny enough, I'm not gonna watch the end, but anyway, play now on itch. You can't play it anymore. Apparently the game did get taken down, so surprise, surprise, Nickelodeon probably came a call and was like, this kind of violates our copyright, and you're running this as an ad on YouTube, which means you're getting paid to promote this ad. You're making money off of this game. So how did this end up in YouTube's, like, however they handle their ad, promotion? How did this end up there? Like, YouTube has been real big on, we need to make sure the kids don't see anything that's not appropriate for them. I'm like, yeah, I know. Guess what? You age restricted one of my, SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy videos, which is a teen-rated game, by the way, but they age-restricted it to 18+. There's no, like, how do you age-restrict a teen-rated game? Meanwhile, my entire playthrough of No More Heroes is online with no age restrictions. How does that work? I've talked about that before. It's just fascinating to me that I played a fighting game with some scantily clad women. By the way, I've also played stuff like Rumble Roses. I don't think any of that stuff got age restricted on here. Dead or Alive. How? It's just fascinating because I think the Dead or Alive games, at least they used to be, were rated mature, and so is Rumble Roses. So the fact that all these mature-rated games can slide through the censors for YouTube, and then a teen-rated game is the one that gets me age-restricted for one video. Instead, again, that's even weirder, too. Only one of the videos. I've got like 6 or 7, I think, from that game, and that's been a few years since I played it. But anyway, I'm trailing off. How do you end up with a SpongeBob game? Like, I don't want to be the kind of person to say, like, because I looked around. Apparently, even people like Markiplier played this game on YouTube. Which I'm not saying you can't make a fan-made dark SpongeBob game. Aside of the fact that they used AI to generate the voice acting instead of hiring people to do like impressions of the characters, which would allow you, for my opinion, better quality voiceover. I mean, I'm in the camp of AI-generated voices is a bad thing. It's bad for voiceover, and it's bad for voice actors. And the continued push to support AI is going to start taking some of your favorite content creators, as far as outside of like streamers, who people like YouTubers and streamers. Yes, they make their own content, but they're making content off of other people's content. Like Markiplier. Okay, Markiplier, great. You know, or just any video game streamer. Like, without the video games, you would have no career. You'd be doing something else because this would not exist. But the thing is with the AI stuff, before we get in again, like talking about the how did this get in there? But like the AI stuff is, once you start, like, I get it. This is a fan-made game. They probably don't charge to play the game, but somehow they were able to get into the YouTube ad stuff. I don't know how. You would think that like there's somebody at YouTube that reviews all this kind of stuff and make sure it's authentic, so that there's actually a product to sell. You know, that you can't just like advertise, you know, just random stuff. But, or like, it's clearly an unofficial game, and it's still funny that like these ads, I got this ad again this morning, but Nickelodeon's already shut the game down, so it's really funny. But with AI, to do an aside here, when you're building games off of, and this game probably wasn't built off of that, like it's just reusing assets from what looks like the Battle for Bikini Bottom remake or something, but the AI generated stuff is just gonna start. Your fans using it to, you know, deal with the fact they don't have a budget. They can't hire actors. They can't do this. They don't have the money to get people to do that. Even though if you look around, you can find people who would be willing to do a fake Squidward voice for your game for free if you can't afford to pay them. I mean, I would argue, especially, this is probably not making money off of this, but directly, as far as like they're not selling this game to you. I would hope not, at least. Then Nickelodeon definitely coming after you. But like, these are like iconic character voices. You could find somebody to do. You can find somebody to do a Squidward voice. I mean, it's some of these characters' voices are so iconic that like you can get around with. You can find a SpongeBob. Like, that's probably a terrible SpongeBob voice. Or a Patrick. Mr. Krabs. Like, there's plenty of people who would do that for you, either cheap or for free. Because some people do like doing voiceover stuff just for the entertainment aspect of it. But anyway, the thing is, like, I'm just mostly fascinated by the fact that a game that's clearly based on a very popular children's IP, and somebody made it and turned it into just like a murder fest, and it made it into YouTube's ad system. I'm just blown away by that. And it's just so funny because I know, working with the D-Tunes channel, that pretty much any time they make a Sonic the Hedgehog short, YouTube flags it as for kids. So they can't like monetize it. They can't make money off of these shorts, because YouTube will say, "Oh, well, there's this Sonic short has it was made for kids, so you can't Sonic the Hedgehog is a kids franchise, so we're gonna make sure we restrict your video, even though there's violence in it. We're gonna make it for kids, or we're gonna demonetize it altogether." Meanwhile, this is running an ad on as an official YouTube ad. A murder horror SpongeBob fan game. Where's that fair? You know? And then to go back again to the way YouTube handles stuff, right after they had introduced the new policy, or I guess it was new policy, I don't know, but there was a policy that they had where it was like, you can't use hard profanity within the first like 13 seconds of your videos, or we will demonetize you. This was an active policy around, I mean, and maybe it still is, but while this policy was there, again, it could be, they were running ads for a show on Stars or a movie on Stars or whatever, where they dropped an uncensored F word within like 3 seconds of the ad. How do you do this? Why is it that like YouTube will just blatantly let certain people slide when it comes to their rules, and then they clamp down on others? It's not fair. Why do Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons, even if they're violent, even if there's like a joke about there being violent, like I did VO for one of the D-Toon shorts where the gag ended up where Eggman keeps telling Sonic like, "Oh, I'm going to kill Tails," and Sonic's just like, "Yeah, whatever, he'll be fine." And then ultimately Eggman does kill him, and the original version of the short that got taken down, I guess YouTube thought it was too violent. Again, funny enough, it's too violent for their kids. Anyway, the original version was pretty gory, and Tails flew into a million pieces, and there was blood and internal organs everywhere. But of course, the joke was that Tails died, but then he just respawned. They changed it. They changed it to where all that was left was like Tails' skeleton. No blood and guts. So they had to tone it down because YouTube didn't like a Sonic the Hedgehog character being, exploded. But you can play as Squidward in this game that you can see that's being clearly advertised by YouTube or through YouTube, where you can just put SpongeBob in a medieval torture device, stab Sandy. Gary was dead. Squidward's gonna kill everybody in Bikini Bottom and then kill himself. That's the game. Oh, man. I don't know. It's, like I said, I don't think that you couldn't... I'm not saying you can't make a game like this, or you can't play a game like this, but it's just so weird to see it as a YouTube ad. Because you gotta know that Nickelodeon is not gonna be happy with this. Like, there's an infamous story, like, Nickelodeon is very protective of what their characters can and can't do, enough so that when, I think it was like, what show was it? Like Mad TV or Saturday Night Live or something, I can't remember, but one of the shows did they used SpongeBob. And they actually brought Tom Kenny in to voice him. And SpongeBob was given... The story is that SpongeBob is given this big patriotic speech. And he's standing in front of an American flag. And again, remember, this is Tom Kenny doing the VO for SpongeBob for this short. And he's given this thing, and then suddenly a very racist depiction of like a Islamic terrorist shows up beside him, and SpongeBob's like, "We gotta keep Ahmed out of here," and he's like, "USA," and then suddenly SpongeBob starts thinking like, "Do I really need to say this? This is like kind of offensive and racist." And then he's surrounded by like former U.S. presidents who are like, "No, you need to make sure you do this." I'm like, should I do a George W. like, listen, we gotta do this. Like, what are you doing? You questioning America? And SpongeBob reads in the script like, "But you want me to like soak up his urine and then squirt it into my mouth or something like that?" Nickelodeon apparently was not happy with this short, and they were not happy that Tom Kenny went in and did that. So they're very now protective of what outside stuff they allow their official voice actors, as far as the official voice of SpongeBob. Nickelodeon has to now approve of anything like outside of the show itself that Tom Kenny can do I guess as far as like voicing SpongeBob for. So like how this ended up here, I don't know. It's just fascinating. What do you guys think? Is this silly? I mean, I don't know why I would ask. It's just blatant hypocrisy. Like you can't make a violent Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon because the kids might see it. But here's Slasher Squidward. Here's Suicidal Squidward. I don't get it, man. Anyway, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to point this out and just laugh at how ridiculous it is. And I wonder how long the ads for this now, like, unavailable game. At least the creator, the channel for this trailer updated the thing. It says like the info for the video, and it says, sorry, I had to take the game down for copyright violation. So, I mean, I'd imagine that if it wasn't appearing as an ad at YouTube, Nickelodeon might have let it go. Because people make wild stuff on the internet all the time. And I think very rarely do any of these big studios actually shut anybody down. It's just when money starts getting involved. When you start profiting off of stuff, that's when they want to clamp down. Because, like, technically, fan art is illegal. Technically, drawing fan art and selling it of characters that you don't own the rights to is sort of a legal gray area. But the studios don't really ever, like, I think it's just generally assumed that studios don't think it's profitable or worth the money to spend to go after every single person who wants to share their, or wants to sell their picture of SpongeBob drawn in their own personal art style. So it's just not worth it to go after fan artists. So technically you're kind of violating, copyright law by selling fan art, but they kind of don't care. It's the same way with streaming video games. Like most video games, you don't really have legal right to stream them, but the game companies have realized that streamers playing their game on YouTube or Twitch or wherever, that gets eyes on their game, and it builds an audience, and it builds interest in the game, and that turns into additional sales. So they're like, yeah, we don't care anymore. Like Nintendo was a famous holdover that, like, this is our game, we'll do it this way, we're going to set all these certain rules, and then they backed off of it because people complained, like, hey, this is not, we're making you money here, we're building an audience for you. You don't have to be so restrictive. And eventually they walked a lot of that stuff back. So yeah, anyway, this is really strange. I don't know how this got through the YouTube content moderation, or who was like, you know what, we should run this as an ad. Just baffling. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I'm out of here.